group of us that went out, was it 3 years ago now? Or
3 years ago.
There were 7 of us, 8 of us, Elaine and Deb and Karen and me and Cindy and Barb, and they were just, and we went out to Fern's house, and Fern said we're going to make a quilt. Well, I'd sewn before. This one is never, she's never sewn a seam in her life, and she's like, look, Mom, I sewed! So in a day, Fern had this pattern. She has 8 sewing machines. And she has this sewing machine. It was like one of the first ones made, and she made an entire quilt on that sewing machine. And then she has all these gorgeous quilts, and she got this pattern, and each one of us was assigned a square, and I think somebody just had squares. They didn't even have to sew. And we each did our square, and then we put it together. I mean, this is all in one day. And then we didn't start till like 10:30 in the morning, because we all took a walk in the forest and had a breakfast. And we had a long lunch. And we had a long lunch, and then we started, and we did this quilt, and we thought, we're never, ever going to finish this. And at about 4 o'clock that afternoon, we laid it out on the bed, and Elaine started sewing it together, because Elaine was like, look, I sewed! And then we took it to the quilt shop. And we had, Fern lived a mile from a quilt shop. They were really happy to have her in the neighborhood. And we picked out the fabric, and we picked out the quilting pattern, and then we had this beautiful quilt put together. And we pass it. It makes its rounds. She had it when she passed, but it makes the rounds with a notebook, and then as each one of us gets it, we live with it for a few weeks, and we wrap up in it, and we
traveling pants. It is.
It's the traveling pants, and so it was just such, that whole day was just such an experience.
Magic.
It was magic, absolutely magic. It was all just one Saturday, because we all left on Sunday. We got there Friday night. Saturday was like this. Time just stood still.
Expanded. Time expanded for us. It's not what we did was not possible. It's not possible to have women who don't know how to sew. Karen I
left you off that, Karen.
She had the square. It took us the longest. And we put together in
5 hours.
5 hours an entire queen-size quilt.
I would, I think, to Bill's point about taking that memory, we talked about support, and back before this conference, when I first came to the U.S. in '91, Fern was the one that really brought me into the wellness world. So we're going back 19 years ago, that she was the one that believed in me before I could fully step into that myself. And I encourage that for everybody, to have that person that believes in you, that can almost carry the belief until you believe it yourself. And that's what she did for me. She believed in me and was there as everybody. She's kind of a pillar of support and genius, and that's a gift that I hope everybody has in their life.
You know, I'd see Fern in other cancer conferences. I work in cancer, and she was a rock star. And what you just said is, you know, I mean, she was a rock star for other people that face that journey. And she taught a lot. I'd see people leave those conferences with the ability to start caring for themselves again and believing in themselves. And so that's so important that you have someone that can lift that up in you. And I'm like Bill. I can't tell you how many years I've been to this conference, but I can tell you, and I tell the women that I work with, you know, I would not be who I am in wellness today if it wasn't for the women in this conference. I mean, you are our strength, you know, in the sense of, because, you know, that's not what males are very good at. But you have given us, I know the males that come here on a regular basis, you have given us a gift that none of us would deny. And Fern, you know, just my space that I saw in cancer, she was a phenomenal rock star for women that could walk out of a conference and start believing in themselves again, which is where you've got to be in your cancer journey in order to make that journey work. So, Fern, I know you're up there and hearing all of this, and, you know, thanks.
Fern created an environment, and I don't know if you guys remember this story, but when Kylie was just a little bitty girl, Fern has a river stream that runs through her backyard, and she wanted them to think that her grandmother was magic, so she bought a whole bag of nickels, and she threw them into the stream, and then she just waited till the girls discovered it. And she said, they came running back into the house, and they said, "Grandma, there's money in your stream. And she said, it's only because it's Grandma's stream. There'll never be another one like it. So I don't know if this is against the EPA, but I suggest we all use that trick and throw nickels into every river stream we find in honor of Fern.
I owe really a very special debt of gratitude to Fern. When I came here my first year 9 years ago, and I took actually Fern and Karen's mind-body medicine thing, and she talked about the difference between expertise and credibility. And I came here 9 years ago as a smoker, and July 24th will be 9 years since really, I don't know, you know, it's one of those things, like, you never know what you can say to inspire somebody, but I went home and I quit smoking, and that was sort of the beginning. And then 3 years ago, Fern did something on dying, and again, she just, it was sort of like the words at the right time. Because August 22nd will be 3 years since a very dear friend of mine died from cancer. And Fern taught me a lot about that too. So.
Well, you know, for me, I got to know Fern both as a woman who wanted this conference to be open for all of us to grow, especially women. And I think Fern brought this up to me several times. How come all the speakers are men at the keynotes? And she recognized that this was going to be best for all concerned, for us men and for the women. It wasn't just for women. But what I remember so wonderfully about Fern, we took lots of walks around the pond out there in the reserve, and she was a very vibrant social entrepreneur. So when she got cancer, she was so excited about creating clothing for special need, and when she had a change in her job. You know, maybe she worked a long time for Mark Tager selling videos and other early age wellness content. And when that changed, she found a way to create a new business. She was always excited about what was coming next. And I just remember her enthusiasm for all of us, for me for sure, but for all of us. And I remember that Fern really had great hopes for our field and for all of us. And I think that's what I'll take, is that confidence that we could do some great things if we put our minds to it and we're enthusiastic.
Is anybody else? Because Deb's going to send us out with her bagpipes. And thank you all so much for coming tonight and participating in what is a minimal. We could be here all night, so thank you for everything.
Fabulous Fern. She taught me to sit in a hammock and do nothing. I so treasure that moment. It was at her house, and I treasure. She was so excited to teach me that, and took me in her hammock. And she said, "Willie, don't do anything," and I just really thank her for that. She taught me so much more than that. But that was really a special moment. I'll never forget it.